Alright, all you graveyard shift racers out there, welcome back to Under the Radar. And this week's stunts of the week goes to none other than BMX_BMX2 with his stunt, Pt.4, and of course goes to none other than Vinewood on Fire with her said stunt, Bike Slides Edit. And the reason why these two stunts made it in for the week? Well, if anybody who can ride up a wall, turn it into a backflip, then turn around in enough time to do a 50-50 grind and still land on both wheels is impressive in my book. And I got a feeling may be related to Dave Mirra in some way, shape, or form. And the reason why we picked the other trick? Anybody who is crazy enough to try to half grind a motorcycle of all things into a flared sideways, almost hitting a building, deserves to be mentioned for their methods of extreme. And speaking of extreme methods, folks, I think it's time for us to go ahead and check out a couple of your extreme tracks to kick off this month of extreme on the right foot, for us to rev our engines for another edition of the GTA Online Top 5 Tracks of the Week. And the first track that we have up comes from none other than Rockstar Socialclub with his said track, AV Titanic. And just before any of you out there think you're gonna find Jack on this boat or anything like that, no, all you're gonna find is a whole bunch of crazy loop-de-loops that you better hope you have a car fast enough to travel in to successfully make your way over these said loop-de-loops. Yeah, the only bit of advice we have for you for this track. And before we forget, folks, also make sure you don't get mesmerized by the Titanic, drifting out to sea. Because if you do, yeah, it will cost you during this race. And as a third warning, be careful on how fast you go once you make your way to the finish line, because you will hit a pole and it will cost you during this race. And the next track that we have up comes from the creator Parajo Tajo with his said track Kara Megalodon, which is car versus car Megalodon. And the reason why this track made it in for the track of the week, folks, not only because of the crazy sharks that are lurking out in the water, they're not real, I hope, but also because of the crazy vehicles featured during this said race, from not only a Blazer Aqua to a prison bus or a riot truck or even a transform mule, along with a festival bus, and even the craziest vehicle of all this, a rhino tank that you have to use to make it from one side of this unsteady platform to the next. And the only tip of advice we have for you fans out there for this said track is make sure you pick a good starting vehicle for this race, because whether it's low tide or bad weather, that water will kick up and will cause your vehicle to slow down, which will cost you valuable time during this said race. And as another warning, you will transform back into your regular car that you started off with on several different occasions during this race. So, like we said before, choose wisely. And the next track that we have up comes from the creator Powers Jeremy 13 with his said track, Enter the Dragon. And this track, which is an obvious homage to Bruce Lee, with a couple of rockets and other tube-like traps along the way, it's a pretty cool track, because it's a giant oversized dragon you're racing through. And the only tip of advice we have for you fans out there for this said crazy out of control track is to make sure you pick a car with great handling, because once you exit that dragon, let's just say there's a lot of hairpin turns waiting for you on the ground below. And getting past those turns will be critical of your win-loss record by the end of that checkered flag. So, like we said before, choose your cars wisely. And the next track that we have up comes from the creator Pt.4 nice name by the way, with his said track, Rapid Vapid Rally. I dare somebody to say that 5 times fast. Well, besides the name that could be a tongue twister on any day of the week, this track will test your car's mettle with the fact that you will go through deep waters while making your way through this track. And the only tip of advice to prevent your car from being stalled out in the middle of the track or it being a makeshift car wash for your car is to make sure you pick the right trophy truck or desert raider for this said car track. And if you don't, let's just say it will cost you during this race. So, once again, since we're going all full Mortal Kombat for this track advice we're giving you for this week, make sure you choose your car wisely. You know, it's moments like these I wish I had a studio audience that would say it along with me, but hey, one day, we can dream. And the last but not least track that we have up for this week, which comes from none other than Warlord Wedgie Woo with his said track, Wedge in Plop We Trust GP. And this giant oversized track that reminds me strangely enough of a double deck track that would be featured in either Double Dash or Mario Kart 64 is a perfect track for you fans out there who looks to go for a more classic track setting that's a little bit different than most to settle your differences with your friends. And the only tip of advice we have for you fans out there is, besides what the creator would say, is using sedans, muscles, coupes, compacts, or even sports classics, but also to be careful during the hairpin turns during this track, especially on the upper deck, because there's a high possibility you can go stumbling down to the bottom part of the track, hit into another racer, or even the scary possibility of getting knocked off and losing this race altogether. So make sure your car has some good handling and you should win this race. Oh, and Maestro said, just to be funny, to choose your car wisely. Oh, a wise guy, huh? You know, I'll deal with you later. And if you guys want to go ahead and test out these cool tracks that we liked for this week, plus other cool tracks we added into the mix, you can head on over to the Rockstar Socialclub page, only known as socialclub.rockstargames.com, and search for the playlist entitled Extreme Jump Over to test out a couple of these tracks for yourself. And make sure you invite your friends, because if you invite well over 4 people along with you during this journey, there's a high possibility you can go home with upwards of well over $150,000 to almost $300,000 from all these tracks. So good luck, you extreme racing fans out there. Good luck. And I guess with that said, folks, for this week wraps it up for another edition of the GTA Online Top 5 Tracks of the Week. And I guess with that said, we might as well head back into the music, and when we return, we'll be back with more Cobalt-like madness as Under the Radar continues right after this. So don't touch that dial just yet, folks, and stay tuned.